Hi, my name is Vivian. I was the only kid of super rich parents who adored me. I grew up in a fancy house and was sent to the best schools. On my first day in middle school, a pretty girl walked up to me and immediately put her arm through mine. My daddy says you can tell a lot about someone from their car. And wow, girl, you're richy rich. I'm Brenda, and we're friends now, okay? Later that day at recess, I saw a girl from our class eating alone. Hey, why don't we ask that girl to join us? Nuh-uh. I told everyone we're bringing smoked salmon bagels for lunch, and she brought gross egg sandwiches. That's poor people food. No one in class is going to talk to her now. That's the rule. I'm sorry, but that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I joined the girl at her table and swapped my lunch with hers while everyone gasped. I'd broken the rule. That day onwards, Brenda hated me with a vengeance. She tried to beat me at everything: grades, friends, clothes. One day in 8th grade, she came up to me and said proudly, "I got my period before you. Ha! I hit puberty first." This girl was crazy. I could hardly stand her. But then one day in 9th grade, something terrible happened and everything changed. Dad fled to some other country with all our money and left us with tons of debt. Mom had to pay it by selling almost everything we owned, including the house. By the next day, the news had spread across the school and Brenda came running to me. OMG, look at that. Super poor. Now that's one thing I can't beat you at. You're the clear winner here. But her laughter soon turned into cries when we discovered that my mom married her dad, and she was my stepsis now. What the freaking fish? You cannot be part of my family. Gosh, someone just pinch me. It's definitely a nightmare. Well, I did what she asked for, and she went completely nuts. Dad, I want you to get a divorce right now. This woman definitely married you for money, and her daughter is a loser. What am I going to tell my friends at school? Oh, Brenda, what are you talking about? I'm so happy you're my sister. We'll get along so well. Get away from me, you witch. She stormed off angrily. I was going to have so much fun teasing her. But a few weeks later, I woke up one morning and noticed some light-colored patches on my hands. I thought it was just an allergy, so I covered it with a little makeup. But I was wrong. Within weeks, my entire body was covered with patches. I told Mom, and she immediately took me to the doctor. I'm afraid she has a skin condition called vitiligo. No, it can't be. I cried all the way home and locked myself in the room. I couldn't believe I had to live with this condition my entire life. Honey, please open the door and let me in. You're still pretty, I promise. But no matter what Mom said, I knew things were just going to be tough from now on. And I couldn't let anyone know, especially Brenda. So I started wearing tons of makeup and full-sleeved clothes to cover my skin. But Brenda even started picking on me for that. Wearing such tacky clothes in the summer? You must have gone crazy because of the heat. And saying that, she threw a glass full of juice over my clothes. Here, beat the heat, jerk. This was it. I jumped her and grabbed her hair, and soon the argument turned into a crazy fight. Obviously, we ended up in the principal's office. But I was the only one who got punished. Vivian, 1 week of detention for you. Any more of this nonsense and you'll be kicked out of the school for good. As I stormed off angrily, Brenda pushed me as she walked by. I have a rich daddy. Too bad yours didn't like you enough to stay. Later in the detention room, while I was listening to music, someone pulled out my earplugs. Hey, what the... I looked up to see a really cute guy and my heart skipped a beat. Your eyes... they're stunning. What? Really? These old things? I'm Tanner, by the way. So, how was someone as charming as you in detention? Oh, yeah, it was all a big misunderstanding. I'm sure, 'cause there's no way an angel like you could do something wrong. OMG, he was so cute. For the next week, I got to see him every day, and we kind of became friends. But I was afraid he might not like me if he discovered my secret. One night while I was changing into my nightwear, the lights were off and I saw a shadow sneak in from my bedroom window, and I screamed. Suddenly, someone put a hand on my mouth and said, "Hey, relax, it's me. Don't shout." Tanner, what are you even doing here? I just came to tell you that. I think I love you, Viv. I'm going crazy for you." Saying that, he pulled me closer to kiss me. But just then, Brenda barged into my room, and to my horror, she switched on the lights. "Ha! Caught you. Wait a sec. What's wrong with your freaking skin?" OMG, gross. What's that on your face? And your body? Get away from me. I wanted the ground to open up and swallow me whole as Tanner and Brenda stared at me. "Is this what I think it is? OMG, you're a freak." I expected Brenda to act like a jerk, but Tanner, he just ran away from there like I was some monster, and that really hurt. The next day at school, I couldn't find him anywhere, but then I saw something that completely shocked me. Tanner and Brenda were sharing the longest kiss in the history of the planet behind the school. And then he said, "OMG, babe, I think I love you, and I'm going crazy for you." Crazy for her? Hey, you literally just said that to me yesterday, jerk. Love you? I would never. Look at yourself. Only someone blind can love you. As I was just about to punch out his perfect teeth, Brenda stepped in and stopped me. "Hey, stay away from my guy, or I'll tell everyone your little secret." Poor Viv. You know what? Take him. He's a jerk like you, and you guys belong together. After that, I made sure to stay away from those loonies. I didn't want to give her a reason to tell my secret to everyone. Soon after we started 10th grade, our teacher introduced a new student, Jacob, to the class, and I could see all the girls drooling over him. In the chemistry lab, everyone wanted to be his partner, but to my surprise, he walked over to my corner and said, "Hey, you don't mind me joining you, do you?" Of course I didn't. But while we were performing the experiment, I accidentally opened the wrong chemical flask and almost fainted from its smell. Just then, Jacob caught me in his arms and carried me to the nurse's room. He even stayed there till I felt better. "Hey, what are you doing here?" "I just wanted to make sure you were okay." OMG, he was so strong and such an angel. After that, we spent a lot of time studying and hanging out together. My life was close to getting perfect, but then Brenda happened again. I could see she was into Jacob, and she'd follow him everywhere. Once when Jacob and I were walking down the corridor, she started walking unsteadily and crying out, "Oh, I feel so dizzy. I'm gonna pass out. Someone, please hold me." I knew what she was up to, so I held back Jacob's hand and she fell to the ground. "What do you think you're doing, witch?" "Saving you trouble." She then got up and whispered in my ear, "Don't you dare lay your hands on what Brenda wants, or your little secret will be out, princess." Psycho, don't you already have a boyfriend? What's your point? He's hotter, and what Brenda likes, Brenda takes. I knew once Brenda had her eyes on something, she was either gonna take it or ruin it, and that scared me. So later that day, when Jacob asked me on a movie date, I had to refuse because of Brenda. Good job, scaredy cat. You got what you wanted, right? Now leave me alone. Oh, not just yet, honey. I want you to cut all ties with Jacob and leave him alone. You're crazy, and you're a freak, and I know your secret. Remember that. I loved Jacob, but I had no choice but to listen to Brenda. The very next day, I broke up with him. I'm sorry, Jacob. It's just not working out between us. But Vivian, listen to me. He kept calling and texting, but I couldn't. I felt terrible. For the next few days, Brenda kept dancing around him and teased me about it. She was so evil. Then a few days later, while I was walking down the corridor, Jacob pulled my hand into an empty classroom. Hey, wait, what are you? Before I could even finish my sentence, he just pulled me close and kissed me. I wasn't expecting that, but whoa, it felt like heaven. I know everything about what Brenda did to you, and I want to tell you, I love you for who you are. But how did you know? After you broke up with me, she kept pestering me all day long, but I told her I only love you. Then she got mad at me and told me about your condition. I instantly knew why you broke up with me. Oh, Jacob, I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. I love you so much. I know, Viv. I love you too, sweetie. Of course, we started dating again because I wasn't afraid of anything anymore. The guy I loved me back for who I was, and I was the happiest. Of course, Brenda looked livid. Before the junior prom, Jacob prepared a big surprise for me in the cafeteria and asked me to the prom in front of everyone. OMG! It was all so romantic, and of course I was going to say yes. But just then, Brenda threw a jug full of water over me and all my makeup washed away. And everyone was looking at me. This trash? You want to go out with her instead of me? I'm practically perfect, and not some weirdo like Miss Patches here. Brenda, you're a complete nutjob. What's wrong? I held him back and stepped up in front of Brenda. Brenda, since the day I met you, you've only cared about stupid things like money and looks. But those things aren't going to get you friends or love. You'll be all alone one day because you don't care about anyone except yourself, and that makes you ugly. And soon everyone around her started shouting at her. Yes, Brenda, Vivian is beautiful inside and out, and you're awful. You're trash, Brenda. You're a cheater, too. Brenda ran from there, and I turned to kiss Jacob. Everyone cheered for us and congratulated us. Later that day, I went home and told Mom and Dad about everything Brenda did to me, and they decided to send her away to a boarding school for spoiled brats. Jacob and I continued to date until the last year of school, and then we got into college together.
I was in 4th grade when the teacher asked me to present my poem in front of the class. I was doing so well when suddenly the whole room started to stink. Goodness, that fart could ruin lives. Someone from the back jokingly said, I bet it's Nina. What? No, it's not me. Look at her face. Of course it's her. I kept protesting, but no one believed me. The teacher told me to leave the class and sent me to the bathroom. When I looked in the mirror, it suddenly hit me why everyone thought it was me. Hi, my name is Nina, and I have something called idiopathic craniofacial erythema, or simply put, I blush a lot. It might sound cute, but I turn crazy red whenever I feel anything. Whether I'm embarrassed, guilty, stressed, angry, just name an emotion and I'm a tomato. Please like and subscribe before I tell you how this condition changed my life forever. It was never easy to have everyone know what I was feeling, but it got even worse when Dad started working as a janitor at a posh private high school and I got enrolled for free. But Dad, I don't think I'll fit in. They're all probably billionaires, and they'll just turn up their noses at me when they find out you work there. I don't want you to tell anyone that I'm your dad, okay? I don't want anything to be harder for you. And you're just as smart and deserving as any kid out there, so don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. But as expected, school was a nightmare. On my first day, the school queen, Ashley, and her gang immediately noticed me. Their eyes were scanning me up and down, and it was really freaking me out. You're pretty, but do you own a private island? Oh, is that a requirement here? Not really, but everyone here is rich, so I'm just checking which richness level you belong to. I felt so annoyed. I turned as red as her lipstick, but they thought I was just embarrassed. Aw, you're blushing. Don't worry, I'm the only one who has a private island. But at least tell me you have a private jet? One of her minions butted in. I don't think she does, Ash. Look at that cheap secondhand bag from Walmart. Ashley looked horrified, like I had bugs crawling all over me. Yes, of course I do. Who doesn't have a jet these days? She narrowed her eyes, so I backed it up. I came in the limo because the jet has gone for maintenance. Just then, I saw my dad mopping the floor nearby, and even though he was poker-faced, I'm pretty sure he'd heard me. Boring! But since you're pretty, you can join our gorgeous gang. We'll make your school experience beautiful like me. Suddenly, someone whispered, good luck. I turned around and instantly started blushing. Oh my! He was the cutest guy I'd ever seen. Hi, I'm Julian. He held out his hand, and I could feel the blush spread down my neck and chest. Ew! Why are you so red? You look like a stupid tomato. Forget about the gorgeous gang. I don't want a freak with us. She's probably simping hard on Julian. Well, Julian is only available for me, right, babe? Come on, Ashley. How many times do I have to tell you that we're not together? Yeah, I hear you. Babe. I was so relieved to hear that Julian didn't like Ashley, but I was sure it was becoming way too obvious to him that I was crushing hard. So I excused myself and ran away. I knew I'd have to avoid him, but that wasn't easy when we had all our classes together. And during chemistry, he sat down next to me. Just then, the teacher started demonstrating sugar dehydration and asked us why sugars turned into black toothpaste after sulfuric acid is added. Everyone looked at her like she'd spoken Chinese, but I knew the answer. Because the sulfuric acid removes water from the sugar, releasing heat, steam, and sulfur oxide fumes. It also smells like caramel. Everyone looked uber impressed. Just then, Julian scooted closer to me and whispered, I didn't know your brain is as pretty as your face. Immediately, I turned horribly red. Ew, what's wrong with you? Is that thing infectious? Julian moved away immediately, and I could see the girls snickering. What a total jerk. My blushing disease wasn't the only thing that was ruining things at school. It wasn't long before Ashley realized I'd never worn anything that screamed $1 million. One day in the canteen, she suddenly came up to me and knocked my lunch tray off the table. I've been watching you go to school every day, and you're just walking. I instantly turned red, totally furious. Before I could attack her, Dad was suddenly by my side. That's an awful thing to do to a new student, miss. Ashley looked like she was about to explode. Excuse you? Who are you, her dad? Just do your job, you stupid janitor. And that's to clean up our mess. Here's some more for you. And with that, Ashley suddenly kicked the cart and spilled all the chemicals and trash onto the floor. Do your work properly, or I'll tell my parents. They can easily get you kicked out of here. How dare she treat my dad like that? That's not how you should treat janitors, Ashley. They work really hard to make sure the school is nice and clean for us. In fact, you shouldn't be allowed to speak like this to anyone. Aw, so am I supposed to cry and hug him for giving me his lame opinion? No, but you're supposed to treat hardworking people with respect. Imagine how you'd feel if someone treated you that way. And why do I need to imagine that? I'm pretty rich. I'm never going to be a janitor. I'm going to be sitting in a nice big office one day running Daddy's business. The principal, Ms. Sheldon, suddenly arrived and asked what was going on. Ashley immediately transformed into an angel. Oh, nothing. The janitor just spilled his stuff and I was helping him. She's lying. She kicked his things on purpose and was being horrible to him. I was sure Ms. Sheldon was going to tell her off, but she just looked uncomfortable and told everyone to go to their classes. I was so angry that she didn't stand up for Dad, just because Ashley's rich parents gave a lot of donations to the school. That night, Dad surprised me with a beautiful birthday cake. Happy birthday, sweetheart. I'd completely forgotten I was turning 17 today. Thank you, Dad. I'm really sorry about how horrible Ashley was to you. I wish I could just punch her in the face. Even the principal didn't do anything. I'm sure she didn't have a choice, honey. She can't afford to make someone like Ashley's parents angry. But that's so unfair. Well, I'm sure when you're rich one day, you'll treat people around you much better. Now don't worry about it anymore and open your gifts. I was shocked to see some branded bags, shoes, and clothes. How did you afford these? I had some money saved up. This will hopefully get those girls off your back for a while. I hugged him and promised myself that someday I was going to spoil him and make him proud. But a few months later, my world turned upside down when he suffered from a heart attack and fell into a coma. I didn't know what to do. And how was I going to pay the hospital bills? When I told the principal, I broke down into tears and she comforted me. You don't have to worry about anything, Nina. I'll talk to the school board and we'll still keep you in school free of charge. That's really kind of you, but I have another favor to ask. Please hire me in Dad's place. I really need his salary. Nina, I'm not sure you want to work here. Maybe I could lend you some money? Thank you, Miss Sheldon, but I'd rather work for it, please. She was hesitant, but eventually agreed to hire me. And she was generous enough to double Dad's salary. When Ashley saw me in my uniform for the first time, she cackled with delight. I knew it. You're the janitor's daughter. It's a shame to have a poor freak like you here in my school. The only thing that's a shame is that there are people like you in the world. Now please get out of my way. In between classes, I'd mop the floor and clean everyone's trash. And whenever I did, she'd be there to mock me. One time she peeled a banana and threw the peel right at my face. Oops, sorry. I mistook your face for a trash can. One day we were in the middle of an exam and she excused herself to go to the bathroom. When she came back, she complained that the toilet was clogged and I needed to go fix it. But I'm still answering my exam. You're the janitor here, right? Do your work now. I was furious when I checked it. She purposely stuffed a lot of tissue paper in the toilet. And even worse, she'd written the worst possible things on the bathroom walls. The next time Ashley complained about the clogged toilet, I finally spoke up. Ugh, how long should I suffer from your constipation, Ashley? I'm dying from the smell. She was surprised with my comeback and looked furious when others laughed. I didn't poop, dummy. Then why is the toilet always clogged? It was now her turn to blush and walk out. In your face, you stupid witch. One day when I was in the janitor's closet, I was surprised to see a boy coming in with a paper bag on his head. But I knew exactly who he was. Julian, why are you wearing that? Because you blush hard every time you see my handsome face? Oh, wow. Not only was he a little jerk, but he was also really full of himself. He got rid of the paper bag and held my hand. Surprisingly, I felt nothing. Listen, what you did with Ashley a while ago was so cool. It was the first time someone stood up to her and I'm impressed. Do you want to hang out sometime? I was about to say no when suddenly he leaned in for a kiss. I was blushing now, but in panic. Before our lips touched, the closet was suddenly opened by a super jealous Ashley. You're gonna pay for hitting on my future boyfriend, Nina. You'll see. One evening when I was studying for a big test, the principal called me. I'm really sorry, Nina, but the jocks and the cheerleaders had a big party at the gym, and we need the place clean for an assembly tomorrow morning. It shouldn't take too long. But when I got to school, I realized to my horror that not just the gym, but the whole school was a total mess. There was trash everywhere and stuff written on the walls. All the toilets were also clogged with tissue paper. Of course, I knew the culprit. I had to finally teach Ashley a lesson. I took pictures of all the mess. Then I went to her locker and opened it up using a hairpin. I grinned when I saw what was in there. There was still a room for a few things, so I took out the tissue papers from all the toilets and stuffed them in her precious locker. Perfect! Then an idea came to mind. I sneaked into the laboratory and mixed up a few chemicals together. I put my formula on a sponge and wiped it across the wall. The ink came off instantly. I sat down to rest for a while, and I just fell asleep there. The next morning, I woke up to everyone gathered around me, and Ashley was screaming. That freak ruined my locker. She did it. What's all this commotion? The principal walked into the scene, and I jumped to my feet as Ashley screamed about her locker. It's true I did that, Miss Sheldon, but look at what she and her minions did to the school before I cleaned it all up. Miss Sheldon looked horrified to see the pictures on my phone. She turned angrily to Ashley. Ashley, you have no respect for the people who work here, or for the school property. If you think I will keep tolerating such behavior, you are very much mistaken. Miss Sheldon, you know who my parents are, right? Yes, I do, and I will be calling them right now. I'm going to talk to the school board about having you expelled. Everyone around us erupted into cheers as Ms. Sheldon and a very furious Ashley walked into her office. She had been bullying everyone way too long. Long story short, Ashley was expelled, and even her minions were suspended. I was about to graduate high school in a few months, and I kept thinking about the formula that I tried in the school lab. I continued testing it at home, and after a few weeks, I felt I'd really perfected it. I set up a website and put up a small video of me cleaning the toughest stains with my invention. And to my surprise, it went viral. I had orders pouring in so fast, I was working day and night to meet the demand. 2 weeks later, an investor contacted me, and fast forward to a couple more months, I was earning millions. I transferred Dad to a better hospital, and just a month later, he finally woke up. I told him everything that happened, and he hugged me tight. I'm so proud of you, Nina. I went off to college, but Dad and I continued my business together and moved into a mansion. We supply our invention to a lot of schools for free to make the jobs of janitors easier everywhere. Oh, and I also found out that my condition could be easily fixed by a small surgery, and I could certainly afford it now. Finally, I could keep some secrets.